Folks, today's video is going to be a good time. We're going to be taking the John Deere 5065 and a piece of technology that's been used for years and years and years, and we're going to be testing it out on our pastures right here. So you can clip hay with this, you can mow pond banks with this, you can trim the edge of the woods with this. This thing's awesome. I hope you enjoy the video. Hey there folks, this is Josh, Stoney Ridge Farmer. Welcome back to the farm. It's another beautiful day here in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. It's about 95 degrees and it's about 2,000% humidity out here. I'm gonna be drenched by the end of the day, but that's all right, that's farm work. Today we're going to be trying out a new tool here on the Stoney Ridge farm. We've got our John Deere 5065 hooked up to a Maschio sickle bar mower, and this is a 7-foot sickle bar mower. We're going to kind of go over this old technology that's been improved upon. In other words, people used to cut with sickle bar mowers all the time back in the day, and they've kind of fallen by the wayside. Today we're going to show you how nice a cut this machine makes, what you can do with it, and we're going to kind of go over in details, and a lot of the videos in the next few weeks are going to be cool pieces of equipment that we have here on the farm, and we can show you guys how they work, and hopefully we're going to reach out to Maschio and see if they're going to give us a discount coupon code. So come along today as we show you the sickle bar mower. We'll toss the drone up in the air, we'll get some beautiful farm footage, and we'll tell you what we think about this thing. All right?
Woo! I ain't afraid of work. I ain't afraid of play. I ain't afraid to get the job done and do it my own damn way. I ain't afraid of life, times like this. If you mess with my freedom, I'll tell you just what you can kiss. That's right.
All right, folks, if this is your first time to the Stoney Ridge Farm, welcome to the Farm Channel. This is what we do. We enjoy living in the country. It's all about rural lifestyle here and just all about having a good time. So what we have here today is a very cool product. It's called a Maschio Fiore. Maschio Fiore. It's made in Italy, and it is called the Weekend Warrior line. This is a 7-foot sickle bar mower. And basically the principle behind it, we'll show you the sickle bar mower part and then we'll show you all the other stuff real quick. So the principle behind it is these little blades slide from side to side like that. So you're cutting in both directions. They're serrated and sharp on both sides. This bar rides down on the ground. Okay, so we've already cut, if you look back behind us, we've already cut a couple runs right back in there all the way around this pasture. And this pasture is somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 acres, something like that. Typically, it takes me around an hour to do an acre. With the Maschio right here, I'm finding it's moving much faster. So the blade system here is really sharp, and it cuts really fast, almost like a hay bind. And you can also rake this up. Once you've cut it, you can rake it up for hay. Now, it's not a mower conditioner like a hay bind or a disc mower or anything like that. It is simply a grass cutter. It's just a grass cutter. The guys were telling me at Maschio, they said it's like 1,000 people going through with scissors and cutting the grass. And it really is. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut a little bit of grass with this today. We'll toss the drone up, we'll let you see what it does. This machine sets offset to the side of the tractor, so you can see it's offset, so you're not running over the grass like you would typically with a 3-point implement that you'd pull directly behind your tractor. So it makes for a better, cleaner cut, which is awesome. And again, you can rake it for hay. We are not raking this for hay. This is green manure. If you don't know what green manure is, Google it, or I'll give you a little bit of a description. Green manure is mowing your pastures down, letting that grass fall to the ground, and feeding the land. You can't cut hay without putting something back, and we're avoiding fertilizers here on the farm. So we're building new pastures. All of this pasture land that you'll see in the drone shots was woods. It was brush. It was all overgrown about 4 years ago. So 4 years. These pastures are 4 years old. This is about the roughest spot in the pasture, but on out here it's just absolutely beautiful. So let's talk a little bit about the inner workings of the Maschio mower. So you see this big bar right here. Well, this bar actually flips over, it inverts, and you can set it down. It's part of the stand, and that's also part of the stand. So once you hook it up to your 3-point on your tractor, you raise it up, you pull that bar, and you pull that bar, you flip them over, and they're stored on the machine. So you don't have to leave them laying in case you don't put this back where you started with, okay? So the way it works, there's a hydraulic cylinder, and this is an option. So this is a hydraulic option right here, and this raises and lowers. There's also a manual option, so you don't have to spring for the hydraulics if you don't want to. Now, this is a 5065 tractor. It's about, I think, 53 PTO horsepower. The thing about this is I can get a 7-foot cut, and I can run this machine with a tractor that's nearly sub 30 horsepower. So if you have a compact tractor instead of a utility tractor, you can get a lot more cut. Instead of running a little 4-foot bush hog or brush hog behind your tractor, you can get a lot more cut a lot faster. And that's what it's all about, is fast, efficient cutting and doing a good job. So inside this casing is a belt system and a proprietary system that Maschio has developed to cut down on vibration. I don't know if you guys have ever used a sickle bar mower on an old tractor or something like that, but it'll shake you to death. This thing runs smooth as silk, and basically it's ran off the 540 PTO shaft here on the back of the tractor. There are a couple lubrication points, nothing real serious. There's like 4 lubrication points here and 2 lubrication points on the blade itself. When you order this, it comes with an extra cutter bar. And let's talk about maintenance real quick. So one of the big selling points on a sickle bar mower is the fact that if you hit something with the sickle bar mower, all you have to do is replace one tooth. Just one tooth. You don't have to replace the whole thing. You don't have to raise it up, pull off the blades, sharpen it, balance anything. You don't have to do any of that. If you hit one of these guards and you bend it, you just replace one guard. You just unbolt this, pull off a guard or pull off a tooth and replace it. So it's very, very inexpensive to maintain. Now, when you order this, again, it comes with a cutter bar, a whole cutter bar section. So you can slide this cutter bar out and put a brand new one in. So that's pretty cool too. I didn't know when I was assembling this, and it comes in a crate, and I had no idea how this worked, this little apparatus right here. But what it does, that is a bit of a foot. You can also see where you're at because you have a little, I don't know what you call it, a little spring-loaded dangly thing. But you can see right up here, I'm gonna walk up where we've been cutting, that little foot actually kind of bunches up the grass. It kind of kicks it up so that you can see where you've been, and that's where your tire tread is gonna run. So if you look right through here, you can see where that foot kind of kicked over, and well, actually kicked it that way, it rolled over the grass. And you can see what we've cut here. Now this grass is fairly sparse. Some of it's weeds, some of it's grass, some of it's Lespedeza, but most of it out in the middle of the field is a mixture between Lespedeza and fescue, Kentucky 32 or Kentucky 31 fescue, and it's cutting it like a champ. I'm gonna fire the tractor up and show you this close up as it functions, but I wanted to show you this real quick. Right here is the bearing system, and basically this little thing just kind of wobbles like that. It kind of oscillates, and these blades just go back and forth. So we're gonna fire the tractor up, get you a little better shot of what's going on right here, and we're gonna leave the PTO on while we're not on the tractor. I don't advise you do that, but I think it's important for you guys to see what's going on here. So let's fire up the tractor and show you how it works, and then we're gonna get to mowing. So for safety's sake, I'm gonna stand back here on this side. You can see the cutter bar right here. Now what do you see that's different? Not only is the cutter bar moving, but the guards are moving also. So it's cutting in 2 directions. It's cutting with the cutter bar and the guards, so they're pulling it across each other. Not similar to the old style. So the old style sickle bar mower, just the sickle part is moving. With this, the sickle and the guards are moving, so you get a cleaner cut and you can go faster. And that's what it's all about. Saving time out here mowing. Get out here and mow for 4 hours and get 8 acres mowed versus 4 hours and getting 4 acres mowed. That's what it's all about. Before we get busy, before we get it working, I'm gonna set the camera up and I'm gonna show you the different positions that you can mow. So you can mow ditches and banks, embankments, all sorts of stuff. So you can mow with it up in the air up to 90 degrees. You can trim hedges. You can also drop it down. So if you have a pond bank and you don't want to get the tractor too close to the pond bank, you can pull right around and mow your pond bank with it. Really, really cool. There's one more feature we need to talk about real quick before we start mowing. There's a handle up here, okay? There's a handle with a rope on it, and that rope handle engages or disengages this bar right here. So there's a bar that comes down on the hydraulic cylinder when you're mowing. When you get ready to raise it up, you can raise it up a little bit to turn around. When you get ready to store the machine or cut it 90 degrees, you pull that handle right there. It raises this hydraulic cylinder block up and allows you to lift it to a full 90 degrees, either for storage or for cutting hedges or for cutting the edges of pastures, just like this. When you got trees and stuff hanging over in. Now you don't want to go cutting big old stuff like that, but little light brush, like little twigs big as your pinky, I wouldn't hesitate jumping in on that. It's mostly made for cutting grass, but you can trim ditches and embankments. Now let's show you how it raises and lowers, and the way it works is you set the machine down just like so, and there are two pads. There's a pad right here and a pad right here on the end. You set this machine down and you distribute the weight evenly from that pad to that pad and on the 3 points, so it's not dragging hard on the ground, it's just right. Rain, lots of rain. Woo, this happens. Welcome to farm life. Guys, if you gotta laugh when stuff like that happens. So here we are. It was about 1 o'clock when the storm hit and we got a complete washout. Now it's rained 2 inches and the drone was up in the air, all that stuff was up in the air. So we're gonna get back on this, and when we get done, we're gonna show you some of the maintenance tips for when you park this thing back in the shed. So I'm not gonna get this entire field mowed this afternoon, but we're gonna take a few laps here. We'll get you some awesome drone footage, and you'll get to see how this thing lays the grass down. And that's the little spot that we mowed just a little bit ago. And the good thing about the sickle bar mower is if it's wet, it doesn't really matter because it's cutting so close to the ground, it's getting the stems really close to the ground so you can mow it wet. Cool? There's a little touch of maintenance that you need to do if you are mowing it wet, and there's a little touch of maintenance that you need to do to this blade, and I'll show you a cool trick at the end here. All right, so let's toss the drone up and try again. Woo! Well, guys, what do you think? What do you think about the cut? So now you can see what that end piece on the cutter was. It basically helps you discern where you're at, because you can hardly tell, when you look down through here, you can hardly tell what's been cut. But let me assure you, it has been cut. Look at that. So that's how nice it cuts. Now, a lot of you guys are probably thinking, man, you're wasting a lot of hay. It's okay. This is gonna feed the land. This is gonna help our pastures get better and better and better. We mowed this 9 times last year. That's why it's so luscious. That's why it's so green. So the next question you might be asking, Josh, dude, didn't we just do a bunch of fence videos? Isn't this area fenced? Well, we've got a section down here. It's probably 400 yards long that has not been fenced. So my ultimate plan was to move the cows onto this, but we only have 9 cows. This is a huge field, a huge area, so we're just gonna cut it. We're not gonna bale hay here because we're gonna end up having to spread fertilizer on it, so we could bale $2,000 worth of hay here and then spread $4,000 worth of fertilizer. It just doesn't make any sense. So we'll let the cows put the butt fertilizer down for us. What you need to do for maintenance, when you put this thing up in the wintertime, they told me to soak this down with oil. Well, for our wood miser, we have a bottle of ATF. This is automatic transmission fluid. What better oil to penetrate down into that cutter bar? So that's what we'll do when we get done. We'll soak it down for the winter and it'll be ready to rock and roll. Or whenever we get done cutting, that's what we'll do, so our blades don't get rusty and nasty. So that's it. That's the Maschio. This is a 7-foot sickle bar mower from Maschio. It's available on agfolks.com, and there'll be a discount code. I believe it's going to be Stoney Ridge 5, but I'll post it down there in the video description, and if I can get it, I'll have it scrolling across right here for you guys. So look forward to a lot of tractor tool and attachment reviews in the next few videos. I've got a ton of fun stuff here that we're going to be using on the farm, and I just can't wait to show you. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you next time on the Stoney Ridge. I hope you enjoyed this little video. If you have any questions, please post them down there. I'd love to hear from you, and we'll see you next time. All right? Woo!
Well, come on down to the Stoney Ridge, bring your wife and bring your kids.